Good morning, this is a clear class for physical education 4th of ESO. The content of the presentation is the context introduction, then we follow with this framework, the learning objectives and the session with its activities. This is a session that I designed in a unit called Health and Lifestyle for the 4th course of ESO, which is in the dimension of healthy physical activity for the physical education. The session I designed is about 2 hours because I thought about the unit which has 3 sessions. 2 hours is because in the college where I do the practices, they do just once per week a physical education class, but each class has 2 hours of duration. So the unit plan contributes to achieve the ESO goals that it described in the Real Decreto 1105-2014 del 26 de diciembre, por el que se establece el currículo básico de la educación secundaria obligatoria y del bachillerato. And moreover, the key competencies that are described in the Orden ECD 65-2015 de 21 de enero, por la que se describen las relaciones entre las competencias, los contenidos y los criterios de evaluación de la educación primaria, educación secundaria obligatoria y el bachillerato. Following the Real Decreto, I've choose the 4 evaluation criteria that are related with the dimension of physical activity for the health. And the evaluation criteria number 4, we will use different journals and websites about physical activity and health that allows the students to take advice and check different aspects of how to keep healthy by doing regular exercise. We need to think about the flexibility and postural attitudes too, which are one of the fitness components that we need to improve. But we're not going to talk about it in this session. It's important to think, moreover, on what we need to do physically healthy or mentally healthy, but in how the unhealthy habits affects to us and how we can change that. With the evaluation criteria number 5, to improve or maintain the factors of physical condition, we will learn what are the risks of extreme practices. So the students can apply the correct procedures with the appropriate activities in a physical activity program. As the Real Decreto doesn't say anything about the content, I use the content of the Decreto 187-2015 de 25 de agosto de ordenación de las enseñanzas de educación secundaria obligatoria en Cataluña. And in the previous courses, the students already studied which are the basic capacities, so now they are available to identify which ones are worked according to the type of activity and exercise. That allows them to choose which ones they can use to improve or maintain the factors of physical condition, taking into account the healthy dimension. The third evaluation criteria, that it's the number 11 from the Real Decreto, as most of the activities will be done in group or in pairs, the students can develop the social skills as respect towards the others, teamwork, fair play, and so that's the unit tries to promote a task where the students work in a cooperation activities. We cannot forget that we need to know if each student assimilates the content. So it's not just about cooperation of task, but individual tasks too. Last evaluation criteria, it's about how the students use effectively the information and communication technologies. The students have the chance to not just know the contents through the practices in the physical education class, but also by doing internet searches and internet activities and lectures that will allow the students to understand what are the components of an active lifestyle, what are the benefits of being physically active, among other things. So by using the internet and this kind of activities and lectures, the students are working on a digital competence too. Okay, now we start with the learning sorry, with the learning objectives. And we're going to use the CLEAR methodology. We need to focus not just on the PE curriculum that Real Decreto says, but also in how to learn the content by using a second language. That's why we're going to use the 4Cs from Coelho. The first one is the content. The content says that refers, to what my students are going to learn according to the PE curriculum. In this case, is health and lifestyle. We follow with the communication that it's the use of English language for physical education. The students will need to use a second language, in this case English, to learn the content. So that's why we're going to introduce them the specific vocabulary they will need or some other terms according to the content. So with that, we allow the students to describe situation or discuss some issue and more other activities that they need to use the communication skill. We need to encourage the students to participate in class by talking in English, no matter about the grammatical dimension at all. That doesn't mean that we don't need to pay attention on it. So we're going to give the students some grammatical advices and corrections, but the main reason and the main objective is that we want our students to get confident about talking in English and to be more fluent by expressing themselves in a second language. The third C is about the cognition. So with the cognition, we will use different activities to develop the health and the lifestyle content. So for that, we need to develop the higher order thinking by using the Bloom's taxonomy. How? For example, understand what are the unhealthy habits that affect to our physical condition and health. Okay, with the last C, we really see how we can improve our lifestyle and how this will affect to the society and to our lives, as we can compare the habits of different people. So with this C, we allow the students to be conscious about their own habits and the habits of the others, or even the habits in a different part of the world. So we talk about the culture, for example, the habits that people in China has. But following the framework will help us to organize easily the unit. We cannot forget that a clear class is more based in the content than in a proper language itself. And for that reason, we have to take into account 3 distinctions that allows us to organize better the lessons. We start with the language of learning, that is going to be the different vocabulary related with physical activity and health lifestyle. For example, in this case, we will use different terms: unhealthy, disease, heart rate, aerobic exercise, that we will develop later. So, moreover, is in here where we can remind or teach some terms and grammatical keys that they will need to know, to discuss, or to write and do the activities. We follow with the language for learning. The students will need to complete different activities. So we're going to use different strategies to provide support to the students. For example, we can have a board in the class where we can write questions, for example, a previous question about the previous content that will help us to connect it with the new content. We can write some instructions they will need. We will use videos, images, mimicking to help the students to understand what we're talking about and how to do the activities. Is here, moreover, we can do different instructions that they need to use or we're going to use in the session. For example, off you go, or sit down in a circle formation, please. The last one, language through learning. We want to encourage the students to speak in English during the class, and we will provide them different support to help them so they can do truly connections with the content. This process we cannot plan it at all, but we can take notes on how the process is done by each student, which are the difficulties they have, so then we can help them. We go with the session following what LOMF establishes about what my students need to learn in the dimension of healthy physical activity. I developed this session, which I put it as a second session. Remember that we have 3 sessions in the unit. This would be the second one, with 2 hours of duration. In this session, we will introduce the benefits of the healthy lifestyle and the heart rate concept. We start with objectives. We put some objectives related with the content. So we need to improve our lifestyle and to prevent disease by learning different healthy lifestyle habits. We're going to review the parts of a physical activity session, but it is not the main goal. So we're going to review while doing the session. To learn the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, to review the aerobic endurance, and to familiarize the students with the aerobic workout, but taking into account the heart rate. Remember that in the previous contents of the other courses, our students already know about the basic capacities. Then we want our students to understand how we can keep healthy by doing different physical activities, and to improve listening and reading comprehension and oral skills. Now, talking about the content, process, and attitudes, values, and habits, we start with the content. As you see, we have different 4 contents. The first one about the learning, the benefits of regular exercising, and the consequences of a non-active lifestyle. Then we follow with the healthy life habits. We will use the unhealthy habits, how we identify the unhealthy habits to know which one are the good ones. Then working in pairs, sorry for the fault. We're going to work on a target heart rate by working the aerobic exercise. We will use different activities, but one of the most important is what's good for me. We'll develop it later. Moreover, at the end of the class, we will talk about an exercise. It's an Padlet activity that they will need to do at home called Did You Know That? We follow with the process. The students will need to do different process to achieve the content and to do the activities. So we start with analysis of fitness components and well-being and lifetime well-being, Then to control our heart rate within the target heart rate in aerobic exercises. The participation in a different activities which enhance the improvement of the health-related fitness components, we introduce in the activities the jogging and the tag games.